Alright, hello everyone. So we're going to do an update on the storm for next week, and it looks pretty good for those of you who want a storm. So this is the American model. Now the models have trended a bit further east with this, but I think it's still going to be strong enough where the precipitation will make it far enough west, and there will definitely be some heavy snow over eastern sections of the east coast, and there will be blizzard conditions as well, because this low pressure system is going to be really deep. It's going to be really strong. It's going to be in parallel to the blizzard we had last year in intensity, and if it continues to strengthen, it might even reach intensity of the 1993 storm, which was 960 millibars. The American model has this going down to 966, and the blizzard we had last year was 968. However, since this is tracking a little bit further east, I'm not sure if, than the blizzard we had last year. I'm not sure if the effects are going to be as great as the blizzard we had last year. You know, they could be. I really think there's a good chance for over a foot of snow in some locations if this comes through. But it's too early to tell. But let's look at our American model here. So this piece of energy here is going to be moving through during the day on Monday. This is coming through Sunday night into Monday. And again, you might have to worry about a little bit of snow down south here, south of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, south of southern New Jersey into Washington, Baltimore, and down to Virginia, maybe North Carolina. I think this stays too far north for you, but you might have to watch a little bit of snow here Sunday night into Monday. Just a slight chance, it won't be too bad. But behind this, what do you have? You have an area of high pressure. So you have a surge of Arctic air building in from Monday during the day. So you are going to wake up Monday morning. It's going to be significantly colder than it was this weekend. So enjoy it while it lasts. I'm even going to be enjoying it while it lasts. Trust me, I don't want it to get cold either. I do want snow, but if it could snow and not be cold, that would be great. So anyway, now you have this surge of Arctic air building in, and then what do you have? Well, you have this main piece of energy moving out. And then in the back, you have this piece. You have the western end of that. And then you have another trough coming down from Canada that's going to be shoving south. And what these pieces of energy have to do to form the storm is they have to kind of work around this area of high pressure. Now, this high pressure is going to be moving off the coast. But before it does that, they're going to have to come down south and then form the storm down here to get around the high pressure. And then the dip in the jet stream will carry the storm up the coast. Okay? So here we go. This is the American model once again. So these are going to move south. See that? So watch how this starts to become more potent as it heads further to the south and east. You know, it's taking in some good moisture as it comes to the south here. And it starts to become really potent. Because this trough in the back is not only guiding it, but adding energy to it. So the leading trough is becoming more potent for a couple of reasons. Well, the main reason is because of this trough adding energy to it. Now, the storm is going to be dependent on a couple of things. If you remember yesterday, some of the models had the trough digging back into western sections over here and right over the Gulf. Now, none of the models are showing that anymore. Instead, it's going to dig south, but it's going to come further to the east rather than just straight south. And what that does is that shifts the storm track a little bit to the east, so further off the coast, just by a little bit. However, despite that, this is still going to be a big storm for somebody, for quite a few people. Okay, so here we go. This is the American model. Here we go. And then, look at this. You're like this, you're neutrally tilted now, and then watch this. Negative tilt. The leading trough becomes negatively tilted. The behind trough is now pretty much combined with it, and it's going to start to shove this to the east. And the flow, since this is positively tilted, the flow out of here is going to be from the southwest, so it's going to start to push this northeast as well. But since it didn't dig as far south, the dip in the jet stream is not going to be as steep since it didn't come as far south. So it will be more of an east-northeast track for a while, and then it'll start to turn when it gets up here. But it's not going to be a sharp northern turn as like we were expecting. It'll come a little bit further east, and then it'll turn north a little bit later. A little bit later. Not by much, but just a little bit. Okay? Alright, so then, again, now kind of looks like your trough is behind it a little bit. Here we go. So, your main trough is here. Your back trough over here is guiding this. It's going to come up. See, this is starting to become negatively tilted, so in turn the front trough here becomes negatively tilted. And then look at this. This is being shoved up now. Look, that's, again, it's pretty much all together now. And it's really, really strong. Look at all this energy here. That's very strong. That's scary. Now, I want to show you on the American model. First of all, look where this is. Again, so that's really strong. It's a little further east than yesterday. It was, well, the American model's always had this going east, but the one thing about the American model is since yesterday, it has rapidly intensified this storm. So, let's just go to the next model run for a second. Look at that. Look at this. If you zoom in, can you read that number there, folks? That's 966. This storm has a central pressure of 966 millibars. It goes, let's go back a few frames here. When it's forming, it starts out at, like 1,008, okay? And then watch this. Watch how much it strengthens as it goes up the coast. 992, 980, 966. Just to give you an idea, hurricanes typically have pressures down into the 940s, and below that maybe as high as the 950s. So when you have a normal storm going down to 966 millibars, you know that it's very, very strong. This would be a destructive storm if it came further west. Fortunately, it's going further east, so it won't be, as destructive. But the snow's going to be bad. The winds are going to be bad. They're going to be howling across the eastern coastal sections here. So you're going to have to watch that. Now, the Canadian model brings this just a little bit further west, and let me explain why. The Canadian model brings it through here, and it has 972 millibars, but that's old, so maybe in the morning we'll wake up, and the European and the Canadian will have this at, 968 or something. Because right now they're a little weaker than that. And this run is updated after the European and the Canadian run. Alright, but anyway, so this is your trough. And the other thing, you see how this part where the low is a bit farther north than the rest of the trough itself? You know what that's called? That's called a closed low. And the reason when we say closed low, we mean it's closed off from the main flow of the jet stream. So I'm going to show you something here. Okay, so you see here how the flow, this is the jet stream flow, this is Wednesday evening. You see how it's going around like that and then coming back up? Well, you see how, this is your low here, you see how it's cut off from that? The winds are kind of going in all different directions, like these arrows are just pointing in all different types of directions. And so you can see how it's cut off from the main flow here. That's what we call a closed low. And because of that, what typically results with a closed low pressure system is it starts to slow down. So this storm might start to slow down as it heads up the coast and it gets cut off from the main flow of the jet stream here. So you might have to watch for that. That could prolong the period of snow for, a little bit perhaps. Alright, so we're coming back to our American model here. Alright, so this is what we're looking like on Tuesday evening. And again, I just want to show you the difference between the American and the Canadian model. Oops, hold on. Alright, here we go. See how far south this comes? So, this is where your storm's going to be. It's going to be on the northeastern edge of this piece of energy here. And because, this back trough on the Canadian model is shoving this really far to the south. Look at the American model. Does the American model have it that far south? No, not even close. See, it stays up to the north with the American model. Canadian model says, nope, it's going to come on further south. This back trough is going to dig further south, and this is going to be a sharper northward turn. Due to that, you get a sharper southwesterly flow, possibly even a southerly flow, which would just carry this due north if it comes down south that much and creates that much of a dip in the jet stream. So that's the difference between the Canadian and the American models. So if you look at the Canadian model, look at where this low goes. Look, that's a lot closer, a 972. See that? That's 972 millibars, which is still really strong, and I have a feeling in the next model run this is going to be a little bit lower. It'll probably be like 968 or something. Because if the American model just updated after these were updated and got 966, I have a feeling they're going to be strengthening this storm a little bit more. And again, notice, this is another closed low system. All models are showing that this is going to be closed. Alright, so your back trough is coming down, and it's going to push this piece of energy up. And the other thing, so you had your initial trough come down. Let's just look at this again. Alright, so back here, you have your initial two pieces of energy, your initial trough coming down, right? This is your initial trough here. This is what forms your storm. And then you can see throughout the process how this trough comes closer, it steers the storm down south and then up the coast. And then also, you can see at one point these two kind of come together. What that's going to do is that's why the storm strengthens so much, because the back trough is going to be like adding energy to the leading trough. So that's going to cause the storm to strengthen to a greater, very significant degree as it comes up the coast. That's why it kind of explodes. And again, the process of, I showed you how it went from 1,008 millibars in Florida to 966 by the time it's just southeast of Massachusetts. We call that bomb cyclogenesis or bombogenesis. And the reason that happens is because of this back trough adding energy to the leading trough. Alright? So again, that's just something you're going to have to watch. Now, I do want to show you on the American model first, since this is the solution I agree with. Look at your, let's just go, so this is where the low is 966. Let's just go back a frame, 980. Okay, so look at your precipitation map. That does look pretty far east, right? But look at your precipitation. It's this trough over here, this closed low, this trough here is negatively tilted, and that means it's going to be absorbing moisture from the Atlantic because it's facing this way here. And so even though it's east, the negative tilt is going to shoot moisture into it back towards the northwest. Remember how I always say your strongest snow bands are typically on the northwest side of your low? Well, that's still the case with this. Because if you have a negative tilt, that means it's absorbing moisture through to the northwest, and you're spewing out snow on the northwestern side of this. So as you can see, even though this low is pretty far to the east, the American model has pretty heavy snow coming back along the coast here. The lighter blue and the darker blue, that would be heavier snow. And then what's going to happen is that's going to move up the coast along with the low. So you can see how the heaviest snow is going to be along eastern coastal sections of New England. And then the other thing you have to worry about is not only this. So the two pieces of energy, the two troughs, they're going to combine as they near the coast and the storm comes up, and that's what's going to cause the storm to strengthen. Now, before they combine, you have these two troughs here are separated, right? You're going to have to worry about some snow coming in along with this initial trough itself. You could kind of see this. You see this is all snow here along upper portion of the Midwest, heading into upstate New York and western Pennsylvania. This initial trough here is going to bring in some more snow along with it. See that? So again, that's something that's going to have to be watched as well. Alright, so while the Midwest and sections towards the west are going to miss the main storm, you will get some snow from this back trough before it combines with the leading trough. Next video we'll look at the European. We've already looked at the Canadian and the American, and then I'll show you my threat map and what I think might happen.